Welcome back to the 4th episode of the Malibu Midnight Special. Episode 4, man, we got a great show for you. We got a special musical guest. Beverly is back. We got other great musicians, Mark Strong, Don Pitts, Reggie, all your favorites, plus great scenes and the Dry Gulch players. Okay, Carter, who do we have up?
We have Sue and Lucy.
Oh, hello, Mrs. DeBreck. Come right in. Here, let me take one of yours.
Aren't you the soul of hospitality? And who are you? And where's Oliver?
He's in the bedroom.
In the bedroom? Oliver! Oliver!
Wait, please. He's on the phone. He knows I'm going to be talking to you. You agreed to that.
And does any part of that agreement include telling me who you are? Oh, of course! How slow-witted I am. You're Mrs. Amagansett.
I can tell you didn't believe that for a minute by the way you underlined the word who. You said, who? I'm Carrie Sachs. How do you do?
You're Peter's wife?
You're Peter's girlfriend. This back feels cold. I'm going to bring it to the kitchen for you. You know, stuff could melt. They say you can refreeze things, but I wouldn't. Here, let me get this all open for you, too. Oh, I see you have skim milk in there. Well, I notice those things because of my diet.
Mrs. Sachs, please, won't you sit down and let me explain about that foolish phone call Peter made?
No, thank you. I've been sitting all day.
Please, sit down.
I'd rather stand.
Sit!
I think I'd better,
Sit. Look. This thing between Peter and me, it's nothing. It's nothing. I just happened to be driving my car when it broke down, and I was in front of the fish market, so I walked across to the cab stand. And naturally, there were no cabs.
There never. It's really a disgrace, cab situation.
Well, this car pulls up, and the man says, "I'm not a taxi, I'm Peter Sachs. And if you're going down the Montauk, I'll drop you." So I got in the car.
That messy car.
This is too serious to lie about. Peter, I guess, wanted to know what time it was. And so he reached down to my wrist to look at my watch. He wasn't wearing one. And, well, we were standing there, and he was holding my wrist. And we didn't say anything. And that's when I knew. And I was so happy and so sorry.
This bag's going to make a puddle.
What are you doing?
I'm putting a magazine under here. It'll get damp and it'll make a right ring. And you can get out with lemon oil, but sometimes it takes 2 applications.
What I'm trying to say is I think I'm in love with Peter. I am in love with him. Now what are you doing?
I'm just checking to see if it's this week's issue of Time. It'll get damp. Oh, it's Bruce Springsteen. Oh, November 1978. You know, I have this friend. He saves all really old magazines of Time and Newsweek. I mean, like 20 years old. And he says when he can't sleep at night, he gets up and he reads all about the Berlin airlift and the Suez crisis. He says it's very relaxing at 4:30 in the morning because you see, it's all over now.
I don't get it. You seem more concerned about my defrosting vegetables than you are about your husband.
Oh, really? Is that the way it seems? Not at all. Of course, I do worry about things that drip. But actually, to tell you the truth, I'm using it more as a delaying tactic because I'm so embarrassed.
I don't get it. Why are you embarrassed?
Well, I know all that. Peter told me everything. Well, not about the wristwatch and everything, but everything else. And that's only half the story. And I feel it in my bones that you don't have a clue about the other half.
What are you talking about? What other half?
Just what I figured. You don't have a clue. And I didn't want to be the one that has to tell you, but under the circumstances, I see no reason why we should feel guilty.
Let me get this straight here. Who is we?
Me and Oliver.
You and Oliver what?
The simple answer to that is yes, we are.
You and Oliver?
You're thinking the worst. You're right.
Well, I think I will take these eggs to the kitchen.
You mean you're not even going to ask, like, how did we meet and when did it all happen?
Oh, I have every confidence you're about to tell me.
Oh, you're so calm. I bet you never ate a rye crisp in your life.
What does that have to do with anything?
A lot. Everything.
All right. Where did you meet?
In his office, I was his patient.
Really? Now, how is it I had the distinct impression when I talked to Oliver on the phone that he had never laid eyes on you before?
Yes, I heard what he said. It's terrible the way love makes you so deceitful. I was his patient. I'll never forget how I suffered sitting under that weird painting of San Sebastian.
All right, then. You were a patient.
Yes. I mean, of course, it was all very, cordial and professional.
Oh, you mean he didn't hurl you down to the carpet during your first appointment?
Okay, I guess I deserve that sarcasm, but don't you want to know how it all developed?
You mean this thing has a plot?
What? Well, that's sort of funny, actually.
I don't think so, but then I frequently miss things. Peter happens to be the kind of man who's very relaxed. He doesn't have any need to know what time it is every 5 minutes. Oliver, on the other hand, is the kind of man who always wears a watch.
Always?
Well, except when he goes to bed. Otherwise, he never takes it off.
I'm speechless.
I'd like to think so. You really are quite a little package, aren't you?
Actually, we have a lot in common. You're the other woman, and I'm the other woman. For me, that's progress.
All right, folks, next we have some music for you by Alex Sherman. Let's hear it for Alex Sherman. Woo!
This is a song I wrote. It's called Day to Night.
You on down.
There's an old couple that lives down the way, wiser than most as it goes with age. Retirement check and a place to get by, and love for each other as the kids bat an eye when the day turns to night. When the day turns to night, tonight.
Now we have a great comedy scene for you. I'm going to bring up Gene Wilder and Margot Reifenbark. Let's hear it for Gene
Annie? Annie? Annie, where are you? Annie, where are you? I'm not going to put up with this. Annie, for God's sakes, woman! I never know where she is from one moment to the next. She's never here when you want her, and when you don't want her, she's always underfoot. Annie!
I'm the housekeeper. Can you imagine that someone with my background would be taking work as a housekeeper? Well, I know it only takes one glance to tell you I was made for better things. I come from a very good family that always had plenty of money and a little more. I went to one of the finest finishing schools in the Western Hemisphere. And when they were done with me, I was a doll walking. I didn't mean to toot my horn. But men would just fall down in the street when I walked by. Of course, I'm not a slouch now. But in those days, I was the creme de la creme.
Annie!
What? What a nerve. Okay, I know you're wondering, how did someone with my obvious background end up being a housekeeper? Well, the Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. Not that I'm a religious person, but somebody giveth and somebody taketh away.
Where are you?
Don't worry where I am! Anyway, a week ago, as I was walking by a supermarket window, I saw a reflection of myself. And it scared me to death. I was so frightened that I was shaking. And I said, "What is that piece of garbage?" Then I said, "Annie Dankworth, live or die, but don't straddle the fence." And here I am. You watch. He'll be down here in a second, complaining about something.
There you are.
Now watch.
When I call you, you will have the goodness to come.
I was sleeping.
How many times do I have to tell you that my desires are more important than your sweeping?
Well, and how many times do I have to tell you that a gentleman keeps his desires to himself?
Now listen, the cast iron deer is a scandal. I want you to take a bucket and a brush and give it a good scrub.
I'm the housekeeper. I take care of the house. I don't go into the garden and scrub cast iron deers.
You refuse?
Of course I refuse. Where I come from, no man would ask a lady to clean his deer.
look at me. I'm as helpless as a kitten up a tree, and I feel like I'm clinging to a cloud. I can't understand. I get misty just holding your hand. Walk my way, and 1,000 violins begin to play, and it may be the sound of your hello, that music I hear. I get misty the moment you're near. You can say I'm leaving you now, but it's just what I want you to do. Can't you see that I am hopelessly lost? That's why I am following you. On my own, will I wander through this wonderland alone, never knowing my right foot from my left, my hat from my glove. I get misty and too much in love.
That was lovely.
Summertime and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Your dad is rich